All right. Perfect. We are going to move on to the UC recap football. They opened up at NIP 3:30 this past Saturday versus EKU. And, Crawley and I, we went down. We were there, and great atmosphere. NIP was NIP, and a lot of the players and even Satterfield, they were excited to play at NIP, just to be in that atmosphere, and it did not disappoint. And Emory Jones looks like the real deal. I mean, he looks really, really good. 66 points they put up, 66-10. I covered,
13.
So that's good.
66,
13.
13.
It's 13,
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, we must have left when they got a cheap field goal there, Crawley. So
yeah, they did.
Yeah, so,
I love it. I love they went for a field goal when you're down 66-10 or whatever it was. So
hey, they got to work on things, right? You never know when they have to kick that field goal to win a game. But it was a good showing for the Bearcats. My only concern is, I mean, our defense stepped up when we needed it to, but EKU moved the ball and they shot themselves in the foot in the first quarter and a half. They were marching down on the first play, and then they got behind the chains because of a penalty. And then the second time they were in the red zone, and the receiver tipped the ball up, and we had an interception. For as much as our D line is getting praised and noticed, they were pretty absent from causing havoc early on. Like I said, when they needed to step up, they stepped up, but EKU's line was opening up some holes for their running backs, and they gave the quarterback some time to throw. But offensively, that combination.
Man, a QB that can throw a deep ball. Oh, my gosh.
Wow. Yeah. Emory Jones.
We'd have went undefeated if we'd have had Emory Jones last year.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have lost the game.
Emory Jones and Xavier Henderson, that connection, that's going to be tough. I mean, that's going to be real tough. Thoughts, Crawley?
Yeah. I mean, they couldn't have done better on offense than they did. I mean, I don't know how you would, how you can critique anything. I mean, I guess they, maybe the offensive line, maybe a little bit on the tackles and stuff, there's a little bit of pressure, but I mean, other than that, and that's just looking for anything.
Yeah, right.
They ran the ball well. Kiner had a 54-yarder, over 100 yards for the game. Even without the 54-yarder, I think it was like 4.2 yards a carry for him. So that's good. Miles Montgomery was over 6 yards a carry. And they couldn't run. That was a big time weakness last year. We could not run the ball last year, no matter really who we played. That's a big time positive. Of course, Emory Jones helps with the running game too, with versus Ben Bryant, who wasn't going to run at all. So that's a plus. Xavier Henderson looks like the real deal. I mean, he went up for a couple contested balls and just ripped the ball away from the DBs. So, hopefully he can do that against, Division I school, like higher level competition. But, but still, I mean, it shows he has that ability to. But Emory Jones threw 5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers. That's nice as well. They got Aaron Turner involved, the little guy from Connecticut. I mean, he was all over the place. They were doing in arounds and reverses and doing what they could with him. So looked fairly creative, be able to get him involved. I saw the same thing that you said, Dave, about the defense. My only on the positive note with that, I would guess they showed nothing when it came to
that's true.
Doing defensive, whatever you want to call it, tricks or stunts or. Running a full defense. I mean, I don't think they needed to. So, I'm going to rely on that fact that, they were going to be as vanilla as you can be on defense. And so when they play Pitt, I'm hoping they'll, do whatever they can, I think they're going to rush. I think they're going to blitz a lot more. I think Deshaun Pace is going to be on the quarterback a lot more than he was on Saturday, putting pressure on. So I'll take that as, the maybe somewhat of an excuse, we'll say, for some of the defensive things. However, they did hold EKU to 2.9, I think, yards a carry, and that and they did not do. I mean, they were run on at will last year, which is surprising, as the defensive line should have been better last year. So if they, granted, you ain't got a 2.9 versus Pitt probably or whoever, but if you can just keep it manageable in the threes or whatever for per carry, that's a big upgrade from last year. So yeah, I mean, you got to take the competition into account for Saturday's performance. But I mean, they always play an FCS school, and they played Murray State 2 years ago in the undefeated season, and they did not beat Murray State like they beat Eastern Kentucky on Saturday. I mean, I think at halftime they were only by like a touchdown or 10 points or something, because I remember going like, what is going on here? And they just took EKU to the woodshed, for the most part. So I think 97% of it is positive coming out of that game, and now they got to move on to Pitt, and let's see how they do on a road game against probably a team on paper with about pretty equal talent. So,
Sam, what'd you think?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll touch on the defense part of it. Just watching the broadcast and kind of listening to the broadcasters, they did mention how it was probably a pretty basic defense that UC was playing. And then also EKU's quarterback last year led the FCS in passing yards, was third in touchdowns. So he's not a typical FCS quarterback. They were mentioning how they were surprised that he actually went back to EKU. They thought he could have taken that step up. So if you're going to, those two things together, it's not a surprise that they were able to move the ball a little bit on the defense. So I'm not too worried about it. I mean, we'll see where they stand after the Pitt game here this week. But yeah, on offense, Emory Jones, I mean, I mentioned it earlier, when you have a quarterback that can throw a deep ball, it changes your whole offense. And it's just nice to see, as compared to last year where Ben Bryant couldn't throw a deep ball to save his life. So
yeah. Well, one thing I will say about the defense, and this is where I guess even though it may have been vanilla, when you have, the Godfather who's getting all these accolades, to me, even if you are vanilla, he should have shown up more, is what I'm saying. I mean, he allows, granted, he could have been getting double teamed a lot as well. So, if that, I haven't watched the coach's film on it, so, I can't speak to it if he was getting double teamed every single snap or not. But you would think, with being one of the best interior defensive linemen in the nation, he would be able to throw those guys away and make some plays. But that's my concern. The hype didn't meet my expectation, but once again, a couple of factors. The game was pretty much in hand after the second series, and it was brutally hot out there. So, it was smoking. 90, 95 in the shade, and humidity was high. So, I don't want to, be too negative on the Bearcats here, but, I just foresee the Big 12 offense could give us a lot of issues. And if we can't get to the quarterback. So hopefully we can. And Pitt, like I said, we travel to Pitt, first road test of the Scott Satterfield team. And, that stadium, it's Steeler Stadium. So we'll see what we can do. I'm hoping that we can come out with a victory. I'm a little more positive seeing our offense than I was, with our predictions, last week. Saying 6-6 and things like that. They, you could look at 8-4 now, realistically, and so hopefully, we can show out up at Pitt.